Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to have a look at Unity's new UI solution, UI Toolkit, and compare it to the old method Unity UI. Afterwards we are going to build a simple main menu with UI Toolkit and Unity's design tool UI Builder. It's important to say that UI Toolkit is the newer alternative and obviously contains more bugs and has worse performance than UGUI. But I think that all of the flaws will be fixed in the future and UI Toolkit will become the standard framework for building user interfaces in Unity. For a basic comparison, it's important to know how the two systems work and behave. In the old solution, all of the UI elements were game objects based in the game world. The whole logic was based on C# components, which made it easy to integrate in code. But this workflow is also very confusing for new developers and has some drawbacks like the lack of good layouts and consistent styling. Also, you can't really make good shapes without having an image of them, which made the folder for my UI look like this. UI Toolkit on the other hand is made purely out of code. The UI is stored in UXML and USS files, which makes it easy if you're already into web development. That way it's easier to make good layouts and consistent styles, but integrating the UI into your code is slightly harder than in the old system. If you make a new game, it's definitely worth using UI Toolkit, but for a game that's already a while into development, I don't think it's worth to switch. Now that we know the pros and cons of each system, we are going to make a simple main menu in UI Toolkit. Start by creating a new project in Unity. I'm gonna use version 6 preview, but you can use any version above Unity 2021. You can make a new scene for your main menu and create a UI document in the hierarchy. This just holds a UI file to show in the scene. In the panel settings, you can change the mode to scale with screen size and change the resolution to 1080p or 4K, just like you could in the old Canvas system. It also created a new folder named UI Toolkit, in which you want to create a layout or a markup and a styles folder. The layout folder is for all your UXML files and the styles for the USS ones. Now create a new UI document in the layout folder called main menu. Double click it and this will open a new window called the UI Builder. This is like a drag and drop tool that makes development easier. But you can also edit the UXML file directly in a code editor if you have some web development background. You should also change the resolution of the UXML document to something like 1080p or just select Match Game View to have the right aspect ratio for editing. To start creating our menu, we need to drag a visual element under our UXML file. You can give it a solid color for a background and drag a second visual element under it. Give him another color and name it button holder, for example. You can play around a bit with sizing, padding, margin, etc. until you get your desired result. I wanted to have the small box in the middle to hold all of my buttons and achieved it by centering the content and changing the padding of the parent object. The upper left corner of the UI builder, you can make a new style sheet. This is very useful to easily stay consistent with all of your styles. For the button, we want to create a new style called menu button, for example, where we store all of our styles that the button should have. After we designed it, we can apply the style to all of your buttons by simply dragging it onto them. If we go play our game, we should hopefully see our UI as we designed it. For a button, this looks very static. We want the button to change color or size when hovering over it. Therefore, we need to make a new button style and rename it to :hover. In this style, change everything that you want the hovered button to have, then change the animation type and duration for it to look good. Then we need to give all of our buttons an appropriate name so that we can reference them in our script. This looks like a decent home menu, but it doesn't have any logic yet. For this, we're gonna make a C# script called main menu logic that we put on our UI document. We need a private reference to our UI document and get it in the start method. Then let's just create a function for all of our buttons with a debug.log inside to indicate that the behavior is working. We need a reference to our visual root element and from there we can get all of our buttons by their name. Then just subscribe our methods to the according onClick event and we are ready to go. If we now go test our main menu, we can see that all of the buttons work correctly and are wired to our code. Now you can change the function to whatever you like. I highly encourage you to leave some feedback in the comments for me to make better videos. Thanks for watching, I hope that this video helped and I wish you all a great day.